Hello everybody and welcome to today's episode of Banter Blitz. I'm struggling a bit because I'm following the great Peter Svidler who did a show on Saturday and he's a tough act to follow. However, he is old and slow, so I will try to crush you all anyway. Let's get right into it. I think you know the rules by now. Challenge me to a 3 or 5 minute game if you're a premium member and we'll see how it goes. I will bring up my challenges on Chess24. Let's see who I got. And here's the first name popping up, Mr. Abrito99. I'll keep half an eye on the chat, so please let me know if the sound is okay. Whatever you want to let me know. I might find out on the chat, but I also have to look at the games, so we'll never know. Playing Abrito99, 2-5-57. That's a very strong opponent to get started. So I'm gonna stick to my guns and play boring crap. Why do I have this system sound on? Is that annoying you? I'm not used to it. He plays some sort of King's Indian. I will play my old main line, this e4, d6, d4, castles, bishop e2 thing, e5, bishop e3. I've played a lot of games here, then I gave up on it. He pre-moves knight c6, which is a bit odd because that's a bad move to play according to theory after bishop e3, because I get this setup with knight d2, bishop e3, knight d2, which you normally don't get. Anyway, he seems very intent on playing quickly. I went g4, which is actually not the way to go here. Mixing up my lines while talking, I should have played c5. So I'm gonna have to start thinking early. And yeah, this is a 3 minute game, so oof. Let's play a random move and speed up a little bit. I'm already a minute behind, which is not the recipe for success normally in Blitz games. Rocky start. I should have chosen a weaker opponent, frankly. I'm not fully there yet. Knight f6 anyway. I'll make some moves, see how it goes. As for the play, yeah, g4 is a typical idea, but I think it was mistimed here. I should just have played c5. If I have in thousands of games, now he's trying to get me to give up my dark squared bishop, and I will eventually, but I think I can wait for one move, provoke him to go knight g6, and then take and hope to exploit the position of the knight on g6. Knight h4, okay. I have to speed up, that's the main thing. Strategically, I'm doing fine. I believe after the exchange of these bishops, I will have some sort of initiative on the king side. I think it should have gone f3 instead of knight h4. But I've been slow. h5, I missed h5. I was hoping I could double my rooks there more quickly. No such thing. I'll get out of this diagonal just in case. Wow, this guy's playing quickly. He's not playing very well, but he's playing very, very fast. So I'll do the same thing, just make not very good moves as quickly as I can. How's the position? I have no idea. Should be doing alright. I'm gonna guess he's gonna go rook g8 at some point. Queen f4, what's that about? It's attacking my knight for starters, so I'll move it somewhere. Deep explanations as you are used to, ladies and gentlemen. Knight g2, that's another annoying move. Huh. I would like to put my rook on h3, but there it might sort of get trapped with queen g4. Knight f1 was probably not very smart. Play h3 myself. I don't like it much, but after h4 I want to go rook g4. So weak, so slow. What happened to me? Probably go rook g8, bishop g5. I'm still hell-bent on capturing my poor rook. Can I do anything about that? Maybe go here. It looks very clumsy. And it's a blunder, bishop h4. Yeah, I'm playing terribly. Or even h4. Seems to work as well. Horrible start, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Very displeased with my play. Well, the game ain't over yet. Exchange down, 40 seconds left. Not the best of starts. But what are you gonna do? Brito's been sort of crushing me. He can't take on a3 yet because of knight f6. But I don't have a lot of resources or time left. Now he can take excellent play once again. How do we trick him? Might be tough. Yeah, probably losing too much material for any trickery. Just queen takes f3. He's also faster than me. That's a very disappointing start to this session. I'll resign and be upset with myself. Maybe I forgot to press record, so we will forget about this game. That was really bad. Moving on. Who we got? Yeah, everything went wrong in that game. I shouldn't have played g4, but the position was good after that. But then I just played badly, slowly. And I don't even know an English word to describe my failures. Discover chess, another strong opponent. I should really take it slower. I'm going to get crushed every game, and everybody's choosing 3 minutes, which is much tougher for me than 5 minutes because I can't say all the clever things I want to say. He goes c4. He's saying he's playing with touchpad. Yeah, I'm talking while we're playing. That's even worse. This is a line I've been looking at for my new d4 or anti-d4 repertoire, the boring classical captain line. Queen c2 is a sideline. I haven't gotten to that one yet. The main move is, of course, castles. But I'm familiar with this more or less. He pre-moved knight c6, which is not a good idea because e5 is a very valid alternative to knight c6 in that position, played by Anand and many others. So now I am winning, and I should try not to screw it up. Piece up, and I'm still sweating. Goes to show you what kind of state I'm in. How do we win this? Should be 6 is the first move that comes to mind. Then queen takes e5. And let's say knight c2. Yeah, it should be good enough. Keeps pre-moving. He's very fast, this guy, but he is a piece down. I think I might quit the session if I don't win this, by the way. Just so you know. I tried to calculate queen e5, bishop f6, and I thought I concluded the queen didn't have a lot of squares, but I'm really very rattled at the start of the session already. So I'm expecting anything from losing this game, being a queen up, to my opponent not resigning, even though I am a queen up. Anything can happen. I didn't even count. What does he have for the queen? Just a piece? I think it's just a piece, which is really not a lot. Yeah, whatever. Come on, dude. It's a bit rude to play on here. I'll speed up just to make sure I don't lose on time. Queen is a queen. Doesn't seem to bother him the least. Not much to say here. This queen on b6 should be superior to the knight on d1. But as I've said, I'm expecting a great deal of pain from anything that could happen today. Sort of outplaying me, being a queen down. Still think the queen factor will eventually tilt the odds in my favor. This is really kind of sad. I don't even have a plan. No idea what I'm gonna do. Very bad day at the office. Sitting here, I'm a queen up for a piece and I'm panicking. And I only have 1 minute left, so I better speed up a bit and concentrate. I think I'll stop talking now, just because the self-hatred that losing this game would bring would just be too much to handle. I'm not making any progress either. Okay, this is pathetic. Let's finish this game off. Missed mate in 1 with queen h1. I keep playing excellent chess. Now he even has a check. It's another check. I'll take it just in case. h5. This is the spirit of Banter Blitz. Try to flag the poor banterer a queen down. Yeah, another excellent move. I still have time though. What are you hoping for? Come on. I'll let my time run out a bit just to rub it in and then go rook h2 checkmate. Nah, I'm bigger than that. I'm not, but what are you gonna do? Good game, discover chess, don't pre-move knight c6 in that position. I really had a feeling I was gonna lose that at queen up, so that was a tough ride. Let's see if anyone can hear me. Nah, I'm not gonna lose that on time. I thought I might. Who's next? Alexander Langers. Don't think I've heard of Alexander Langers before. Another strong premium member from Germany. Ugh, I should stop playing knight f3. I'm getting bored of myself even. d5, d4. That's what I do. I don't like c4 because of d takes c or d4. So we get some sort of Slav. What am I going to do? Play the main line. Bishop f5? That's a mistake. What are you doing, Alexander Langers? Supposed to be a mistake because of cd, queen b3. So either he expected me to go e3 and pre-move, as everybody's doing today, or he has some devious idea here that I'm not aware of. Queen b6 now doesn't work because of knight takes d5, winning a pawn. Knight c6, queen b7 is also not supposed to be a lot of compensation. So I'm not sure what his plan is. b6, I think there were some drastic measures like e4 that were supposed to be good for me, but I'll think about that once we get there. Was it b6, e4? And de, how does that line go? Bishop b5 check, knight bd7, knight e5, bishop e6. Doesn't look that convincing. I can just play a normal move after b6, bishop f4, and white is better. But that's not really the plan. I thought there was some forced win after it. b6, e4 takes. Knight e5 first, same thing, bishop e6, bishop b5 check, knight bd7. How do you win there? d5 then maybe. Goes knight c6. Now I will take the pawn. I am worried about nothing. Rook c8. So far so good. Any threats? Not really. I think I'm in time to go bishop f4. Other moves come to mind. e4 or e3 to go bishop b5. But I've always liked this move just to control this diagonal. Maybe you can try to bother me with knight h5. But so far so good, I would say. I really need a haircut. I don't like these curls one bit. should really not overdo the anti-self-marketing. People are saying suits his aging defensive style. I just pretend I'm an old defensive player. I'm really a sharp tactician, believe it or not. Probably no one's gonna believe it. E5, what is this anyway? I can take in various ways, and I will probably take with a knight, hoping for knight d4, queen f7, checkmate. Which is a fair hope. Rook c7, knight takes c6, and at the very least I get an endgame 2 pawns up, which old defensive players like myself like. Now I get a middle game 2 pawns up, which is also not the end of the world. He's gonna go bishop e7, and I'll think about what to do. Probably I'll just go e3, but there's other options. Bishop f6, knight d5, bishop d4. Nah, no reason for it. Nah, I'll just go e3. 2 pawns are enough. No need to get greedy. Castles, bishop e2. There is no semblance of compensation. I can pick up a7 or d5 if I really feel I have to. But for now, I'll just want a castle and then wrap it up. Ugh. I got the video of myself open on my laptop on the left where I'm looking to watch the chat. And I see myself like picking my nose, drinking coffee, not looking anywhere in the general direction of the camera. You guys should tell me how horrible this show is. I've never watched it before. 94, knight d5, isn't this just winning? Queen a5, check b4. Yeah, whatever. 3 pawns are 3 pawns. Now he's gonna go bishop h4 and hope for the confusion value. Well, I'll just castle, I think. Castle rook c2, any problems there? Nah. Instead of castle, I can also go bishop g3 if I feel like. Or g3 even. That's a check, which I planned to parry by playing this move. It's another check, which I planned to parry by capturing it. That's not a check, so I don't need to parry it. Any threats? There's really no threats. I'm just a piece up, right? What does he want? Knight takes a2, rook a2, rook c1, king d2, or just castles. Yeah, it doesn't work. People lost all respect for me after barely winning that game, a queen up a game ago, and getting crushed in the first one with slow, erratic play. No one's gonna resign. But this one I'm confident. I'm like a piece and a couple pawns up, and I still have 3 minutes, so I feel good about my chances. Bishop d3, I can't take that. You know you're just bluffing, right? I think I will take it. Knight, random check, king f1. Yeah, too lazy to think. Which is the recipe for disaster, of course, but I don't see it. Knight e4, king f1. Whatever, knight d2, king e2, or king g1. Not king g1. And yeah, queen d2, bishop takes e4. There's not much going on. I also have knight e4, queen b4 if I really want to play it safe. Discovered check is not always the end of the world. Knight b1, that's another discovered check. What is he hoping for? Queen b4, rook c1, bishop d1. Let's play it. I'm really not in the mood to think. And Alexander Langes resigns. Not a good game. Alexander Langes, don't play bishop f5 in the opening. Next, what's going on? What's in the chat? Sporiferous. Ah, yeah. Always very hard to please everybody. I can't play everybody who's challenging me. All these shows have become so popular thanks to my great play and extremely didactic explanations. I normally just click on the first name. I see there's no system. I've tried going from the top or from the bottom, but people always find a way to mess with the system. And we want to try to play as many people as we can. I'm glad we have new premium members. I haven't heard of Mikhail Osepian either. He's the weakest player today so far on paper, and as we know, due to my chicken nature against weakish players, or on paper, I do risk the Sicilian to make it look like I'm an exciting sharp player. So I will play the dragon in this game, which, yeah, is probably like my third opening against e4, but I've played it in serious games. I don't think it's that good. I also don't think it's that bad. Bishop b5 check is not a critical move here, even though it's playable, of course. I'll go knight bd7. Could make a case for bishop d7 as well. And castles bishop g7. Problem with the dragon is if you don't play sharply against it, if you don't go bishop e3, queen d2, f3, and so on, positionally black is doing very well. It's a very sound setup. So you kind of have to go for the kill there, in my opinion. All these slower systems don't really challenge it all that much. a4 is a very sensible move, actually, because I was planning to go a6, b5, which I now can no longer do. Still go a6. And just to see where he goes, he should go back to e2. In my opinion, maybe after bishop e2 I'll play b6. I'm a little concerned about some knight c6, followed by knight d5 things, but not that concerned. Goes to c4, fair enough. Let's kick it away. Maybe even go knight g4, kick the other guy away too. Now, start with bishop d7, typical dragon move, intending rook c8, knight c4. Knight f3 is a mistake because I can pin him. And I like pinning. Now his pawn structure will be compromised, and hopefully I will get some targets on the king side. h3, now I can take a pawn. I like pawns even more than pinning, so I will do that. With a pretty good position. I'll go for an attack, go knight h5, e6, bishop e5, queen h4. That's the plan at least. See if he stops me from doing so. Queen d5 actually kind of plays into that plan. Not that concerned about the b7 pawn here. There are bigger fish to catch. Yeah, I don't see a mate yet, knight e2. Having said I'm not concerned about pawns, I will take this one in passing on my way to e5. Why not? And now try to somehow checkmate him. Some bishop g2 or bishop somewhere ideas with check on h2. I'm terrible at checkmating. It's one of the very few leaks I have in chess. This checkmating thing is really not my forte. Anyway, let's calculate. Bishop g2 takes, queen h2, king f1, queen h3, king g1, bishop h2, queen h1. Where's the checkmate? King h1, sorry. Bishop g3, king g1, queen h2, king f1, queen h1, knight g1. I don't see a checkmate. It's very frustrating. Could do it anyway just to show off, but what's the point? I'll go for this, hoping he blunders his queen after ed queen b4, and also I think now I'm threatening bishop g2, and this line I was talking about, king g2, queen h2, king f1, queen h3, king g1, bishop h2, king h1, because I have bishop d6 check, picking up the queen in the end if nothing better pops up. He trusts me and does not take my Trojan horse bishop. Problem is now I'm just winning. Not sure how, but I am. Probably that wasn't the way. Playing terribly again. Now yes, king takes g2, and the game continues. fg3 should not prolong the game. Too many threats. Bishop somewhere, bishop h3, queen g2, queen h2. Yeah, now it's game over, but king g2 did keep him in the game. So, how do we checkmate? Can't see a thing. Check, check. This is embarrassing. I'm sure it's mate in 2 or something. Okay, it wasn't mate in 2, but I did find a mate. Yay me. That was it. Yeah, where did it go wrong for Mikhail Osapian? I had knight f3 was a big mistake then after bishop g4. white already is in some sort of trouble. Next game against the happy one. The happy one? Yeah, he's happy. Let's see if one e4 makes him even happier. What's going on in the chat? Ah yeah, people are asking if I only play premium members. Yeah, only premium members. We gotta keep the lights burning in this place. Premium membership, I think, is a pretty good deal. Not so much because you get to play me, but you get to enjoy a lot of more features and all our video series with the likes of Peter Svidler, Vishy Anand, Robin Van Kampen, Who You Fun, many, many more. We do have a lot of good stuff out there, I believe. That was the most boring sounded pluck I've ever done. But seriously, it is a bargain, even though I am tired and yeah, I don't even pay attention to what moves I'm making. I just played the Italian game, not paying any attention to what he's playing. A lot of guys do that, face bishop c4, face a Sicilian or really any opening with this setup with bishop c4, d3, c3. It's playable. Bishop g4 is sort of daring me. It's not a very good move in general, because if I went h3, his bishop would be offside on h5, or he would have to give up the two bishops. But he's sort of provoking me into queen b3, which doesn't yield any benefits yet, because queen d7, knight g5, bishop h5, I'm not winning yet, so I will go h3. If he goes bishop h5, I think I'll go for this sort of typical knight maneuver, knight d2, knight f1, knight g3. He goes bishop e6 back, which is sensible given the circumstances, but you could argue that losing a tempo to provoke h3 did not make a lot of sense. It's always a tricky question when bishop takes e6 is a good idea in these structures and when it's not. Can't say I've fully figured it out. I keep changing my opinion depending on the position. That sometimes I think these double pawns are weak and horrible. Sometimes I think they strengthen the center and give the half open f-file. Really, very much circumstantial. Yeah, now I'm slightly better. Nothing too exciting is happening. Maybe I should have gone a4 to stop him from going b5. But it's no big deal. Either way, b5 also creates some weaknesses. I would go to e3 and take it from there. If he goes bishop e7, I'll probably go... Will I go bishop g5? Yeah, I will. Sometimes one gets too caught up with securing this d5 square for the knight in these positions. Like now the plan is to go knight e3, take on f6 and have this eternal knight, but sometimes that knight is not as spectacular as you think, especially here. Let's say I took on f6 and then when knight d5, often black has knight e7, exchanging it, and the other knight would be far away from d5. So it's not always such a big deal, but still I am a little better positionally because he did weaken his light squares and I did no such thing. Queen c7 was really asking for it, so let's do him the favor of executing our plan. And take and go knight d5. Tuna Onat is asking why only premium. I think I've explained it. We gotta keep the lights on. Running such a website does cost a lot of money. We are financing ourselves with premium membership. I really do think, and that's not because I'm advertising, that it is a bargain for chess fans out there. So go premium and you're gonna have a chance to participate. Else, yeah, gotta offer some perks to the premium members. Yeah, playing me really is not one of them. I'm still a bit better. I should come up with a plan. Knight d2, knight c4, maybe preparing f4 could be a possible plan. Yeah, I think I'll go with that. a5, he really does not care much about his light squares, this guy. a5 weakens b5 and c4 because he can never go b5 anymore. So that's not a good move. Still, nothing too serious has happened, but positionally his position, yeah, I'm speaking excellent English today, is fairly compromised. I don't have any particular plan. I think I'll go g3, king g2, just improve my position a bit and then think about where to break through. Maybe something can happen on the queen side with queen b5, queen b6. Let's keep one knight on d5. Just because we can. And yeah, this is the textbook good knight, bad bishop situation. As I mentioned earlier, sometimes you get too caught up in this, and even this position, it's not 100% clear. Black's bishop is not too terrible, and he has counterplay with king h8, g6, f5, bishop e7 I'm not very fond of. Now it is time to create some new targets by going f4, and that's what I'm going to do next. Move f5 is a mistake because I have a discovered check. Discovered checks are a very nasty thing. And he's losing a piece and the game is pretty much over. I can even pick up a rook if I so feel like. And yeah, the happy one resigns. Take more care of your light squares, the happy one. There was, yeah, a5 was a bit much. e5 you can play, but then it sort of went downhill. Next game, against whom do we play? Ministry of Peace. Is there such a thing? Plays e4. What am I gonna do? I don't play the French. I'm willing to play any other opening, really. Let's play the Caro-Kann. This is the most principled move, e5, grabbing space. Knight d2 is one of many lines. The main line is knight f3, bishop e2, but this stuff, knight d2, knight b3, is also very playable. People have played c5 here. I prefer a slightly slower approach, going knight d7. Then rook c8, a6, and then hopefully c5, h4. Ministry of Peace seems to know what he's doing. I've never seen his h4 move. Oh, it's threatening g4, winning a piece, so I will avoid losing that piece and go h6. I'm just creating a little outpost, little hiding spot for the bishop on h7. h5, fairly thematic move as well, grabbing space on the king side. But it's a mixed blessing because you can't hide your king there so easily anymore. I'm following with my plan. a6 was to prevent a check on b5 after mutual exchanges on whatever the square is called, c5. Go c3. I think I'll take the invitation to grab some space on the queen side and play c4 myself. Time to get some pieces out. It's quite typical for this line that you neglect the development of the dark squared bishop. Go knight e7, probably put it on c6, or maybe on f5. There's some ideas with bishop g4, knight f5, which are also reasonably tempting. Yeah, I think I have a pretty good position. I like space, so the space advantage on the queen side is nice. It always gives you a built-in plan for later with b5, b4. I do like my position. Now I'll go here, I think. Not sure that was smart, but just creating a square on f5 for the knight and pretending I want to go bishop f3. Not sure this was the right setup though, because now there's some g4 in the air, which annoys me a little bit. Maybe it's time to move this bishop, so after g4 I have knight h4. And see what happens. I'm hoping for queen e3. He does give the exchange without blinking for a single second. I'll take it. Oh yeah, I brought my mug back. It's my favorite mug because I signed it myself, and also Mr. Lawrence Trent signed it, so I do use it to uphold his memory. We are of course very sad that he left chess 24, but we'll always have the mug and the memories. Bishop d1, not sure what that's about. Could keep my bishop now. Yeah, I like bishops. Let's just keep it. Now I'll start with my long-term plan. He's apparently trying to jump to b4. I'll stop it just because I can. We didn't include a huge threat. Or maybe he's defending against me ever going b4, which is also legitimate. So I'll change targets, I'll castle and prepare f6 to conclude this game on the king side, if I am given the chance. If I'm playing a bit slowly because I'm talking nonsense most of the time, but I still am ahead on the clock. And on the material count, I'm an exchange up, and my position is, frankly, kind of winning. So let's wrap this up. D takes E. I could go knight e5. No, it's probably something more drastic. Yeah, knight c5 looks pretty good as well. It's a winning position, what can I say? Now I'm threatening knight b3, knight d3, all kinds of evil things. And I don't think black has white has enough defenses to parry all those. and Ministry of Peace resigns. Interesting opening, but it's very tricky to play. In general, I believe that White should prepare himself to capture on c5, and I'm not so sure if this h4, h5 business was a good idea in that position, because the king loses a safe hiding spot. Moving on to Mr. King of the Bongo. A lot of strong players here today. 26-10. Oof. And a 3-minute game, so I can't repeat the mistake I made in the first game and talk too much about nonsense, but I will play fast and in utter silence. I'll pre-move this, because I'm willing to do it against any move. If he goes knight c3, I'll go for d takes c4. I've been working on the Vienna, and this move or the cd, of course, it's perfectly playable, but it's not considered to be that critical, because this setup with c6 is supposed to be fine for black. The point is that now he can't really stop me from going bishop f5, and if you get him bishop f5 in these lines, there's not all that much to worry about. Bishop d3, you take, you go knight bd7, and the position is pretty much equal. Goes bishop e2, keeps the game a little more interesting. I'll get the pieces out and then start worrying about things, but in general with this bishop on f5 active, not a big deal. Maybe I should have gone h6 first to stop some knight h4 ideas. And yeah, just as I said it, he does go knight h4. I have to think, which I don't like. Bishop e6, f4, h6, bishop f6, bishop f6, f5, hg. Yeah, seems to work. Bishop d3, yeah, that's fair. Grabbing this diagonal now that I temporarily abandoned it. But can I go knight e4? Probably can go knight e4. Let's see what happens. Trying to make use of the fact that his knight on h4 is en prise in many of the lines, so he has to retreat, and then I might pin him with bishop g4 or something with a very decent position. Also now, if I want to keep it boring, it's always bishop takes f3 and putting this knight on d6. d6 tends to be the ideal square for the knight in such positions. Queen c2, what's going on? Tempting to take on f3, but I need a game plan after gf. Of course I could just retreat, but I'm not sure that helps my chances all that much. I could give a check and then retreat. I could be opening up the position for his pieces, which I don't want. Can also take and then go knight takes c3. Not that tempted by any of those, but I'll still take just for lack of smarter ideas. Give this check, go back. I think I've misplayed this. Now, yeah, he can go rook g1, rook g3, and I'm not so sure the opening of the king side was very beneficial for me, frankly. Might have to go g6 one day. Wait for a move. Knight e2, interesting as well, bringing the knight to f4. I would still have started with rook g1. Did I blunder my queen? I should stop blundering my queen. I might have blundered my queen. Ugh, this is so embarrassing. Yeah, I think I did. Oh, man. What am I doing today? Yeah, missed rook h3, queen g5, rook g1, and the queen is pretty much gone. So now I can sort of hope he misses it too, which he does. But still a threat, and I'm not sure I can parry it. Don't think I can, frankly. Terrible play once again. I'm not in good shape today. What am I going to say in my defense? I did catch a lot of sleep. No, there's nothing I can do. Terrible game. King of the Bongo, congratulations already. Unless you stop taking my queen, then I will change my opinion completely. Why not rook h3 picking up the queen? I don't get it. I might still be lost, but I'm very, very thrilled he left my queen alive. And I might not be lost, actually. Very confusing game so far. So what is going on here? I'm low on time. I'm not sure about the position. I should speed up and not get mated. Both tall orders. There's always some annoying queen a3 checks, and I'm really low on time, so I'm gonna have to speed up and try to focus. Takes, does this work? Sort of does. Yeah, not a game to be proud of. Sorry, I went mute there in the end. I was trying not to get flagged. I somehow found a perpetual. Maybe I was winning in the final position, but couldn't see anything, and I certainly did not deserve a win there. Pretty bad game. I shouldn't have blundered my queen. I was fine out of the opening, but yeah, that was upsetting. Really playing badly today. I was planning to revive my Great Blitz champion career, but it does not look like it's gonna happen. Next game. A lot of strong challengers. I'm not being even picky. They're just all very high rated. It's very unfair. Salomon, 25-23. Go c4. I'll keep doing this e6, d5 thing just because it's the repertoire I'm working on for my series now. Knight f6 and see what he does. I'll take here, bishop g5, and I'll stick to my guns. Nowadays this endgame is considered to be fine for black, the one we're getting here, but I do have to admit I don't have a lot of practice in it, so I can't claim I'm a huge specialist or anything. I can't even remember if I want to go h5 or h6 in this position, but I think this is supposed to be alright. Not sure I like bishop d6. Very often the bishop should go to b4 in these positions and keep the d6 square available for the black knight. Yeah, I haven't really done most of the work here yet, but I do believe these endgames, even though boring, are very playable for black, and the likes of Kramnik, etc. have been holding them with some ease. Bishop d3, I could even, and I will. Will I? No, I will not. I could even go f5, but it does look a bit rude to this bishop on h7, but in general this setup, putting a pawn on f5 and then pretty much sitting and waiting, is supposed to be extremely solid for black. I'm expecting him to go g3, king d3 is sort of tempting me to take on f4. Pawn takes, rook g8, g3, knight c4, b3, knight d6. I'm a little concerned because he's first to the e file and my rook on h7 is a bit silly. I'll go rook g7, not rook g8. But I still don't have the feeling I'm much worse here. With this knight on d6, one can normally withstand a lot of damage. Knight a4, I'll go b6, and else I'll go rook e8, eliminate one pair of rooks, so nothing too bad can happen to me on this e-file, and yeah, I don't think I'm worse at all. Having said that, and the queens are off, so I can't blunder my queen like last game. Knight d1 is very sensible, bringing the knight to greener pastures. I still don't think I'm worse. How do we make progress? Do we want to make progress? a5 is always a bit double-edged, because if this knight were to make it to, what's the square called, c5, I would miss having the option of going b6. But I did want to make some progress on the queen side. It's another double-edged move. To keep an eye out for g5 breakthroughs if I get too distracted doing my business on the queen side. I'm not sure about a3, this pawn could very well be weak. I wanted to create some potential counterplay at least. Yeah, I'll keep gambling a bit, go b5, intending to meet rook b3 with knight c4, trying to create some winning chances, which might be risky. Because now he can put his knight on f5, and I'm not sure. If I have to go passive with rook h8, I wouldn't be too thrilled. Yeah, I don't really want to do that, so I'll go rook e8, and hope that after knight h6 I have more than enough counterplay with rook e3, rook e2. I'm not expecting to take immediately, but rook b1, yeah, that's a more sensible move. Still have a feeling I should have enough counterplay, but I have pushed my luck quite a bit. Do I have anything better than taking a draw here and going home? Afraid I don't, frankly. Let's hope Salomon deviates, trying to crush me. He doesn't. What can I do? I don't see a winning plan. I don't want to go rook h8, and I shouldn't because of rook e1. No, I think repeating is all I can do. And yeah, draw. Not very exciting, but yeah, what are you gonna do? He didn't blunder. Sometimes games do end in a draw, but I'm not thrilled about that one. Next is Mr. Venka. Where's Venka from? Doesn't say. We'll never know where Venka's from. d4. I'm steaming enough to play a crazy opening like the Dutch. I really don't like the Dutch one bit. You weaken your king on the very first move. But there has been a bit of a renaissance of the Leningrad branch of the Dutch. I still don't like it. Rook e1 is one of the main moves, preparing e4. I believe theory says queen f7. The point is that after b3, now you go knight e4. There is a very sharp pawn sacrifice with e4 here, which I'm not familiar with. Even though I think I played it myself, but I never looked at it from the black side. I'll just take on c4 and hope for the best. e5, is this the main line? Don't think it is, but as I said, not very familiar with the ins and outs here. I'll try to give the pawn back, probably not the best idea. To activate my pieces ASAP. I'm not sure I like it. Don't really know this line, but it's interesting. I think e4 is supposed to be nothing for white against good defense. But I've never looked at it much. I played it once, got in trouble, and somehow won the game against... I can't remember against whom it was. But yeah, I decided it wasn't worth repeating the experiment. Knight d2, where do we put our queen? Probably close to the king. Apologies. He's pinning me. I'll try to unpin with tempo. He can go rook f5 and then bishop b7, but f2 was hanging, so that's probably not a smart idea. If he goes rook f3, you have to think if I can get away with bishop. With knight c6, I was gonna say, but he takes on b7 immediately. Alright. I'll take here. If bishop a8, I'm a bit tempted to go bishop d2 and then c6, just to lock out the bishop. And for lack of creativity, I'll do just that. Not sure that was a good idea. It's a nice bishop. Mine, I mean, and his bishop is not really trapped, so not sure I like that decision. After bishop takes, can I do something cooler like bishop g4? Nah, c6 was the plan. Let's stick with it and see how it goes. Bishop f4. I don't want to allow bishop b8 and bishop c6, and I'm dreaming of some e5, queen f3, or e5, queen f2 checkmates. So that was my reasoning. Let's keep this bishop here. Queen a7 is actually possible. I thought it wasn't, but probably g5 works then. Does g5 still work here? Bishop takes, queen f3. Looks like checkmate is coming. King f1 then. I can't see a checkmate. Nah, I can't see it. I'll do something else, which I have secretly been calculating while I was thinking about the other stuff. I'm not very organized when it comes to calculating lines. I don't think anybody is. Like, this candidate moves 1, 2, 3. I'm more like a flipper. Oh, I could go here, or I could also go here. Maybe go here. Anyway, my point is bishop c6, rook c6. I want e5, bishop e5, knight e5, and queen e5. I'm checkmating him with queen f2, so he can't do that. He goes queen a7. This he can't do. And I'll go e5 and see what happens. Still planning to checkmate, but I have not calculated it till the end after king f1. Or calculated it at all. But he does resign, king f1. Yeah, probably I'm winning somehow, c5 or something. I still wouldn't have resigned yet. Anyway, thanks Venka for the game. Tricky line, this rook e1 stuff, but I do believe it's supposed to be fine for black. Next game. Oh, there was praise in the chat. I pretend I'm not looking at it, but someone praises me, I'll see it instantly. Dover Beach says, Jan, your Marshall series is fantastic. Thanks for the tips. You're very welcome. Thank you. And I'll play on against Mr. Spills. Spills with 3 Zs. What does spills mean? Like spill your coffee? Not sure. Knight f3. I'll go c5. Nowadays I often go knight f3, c5, e4, some sort of anti-Berlin. But the old wisdom is one knight f3 players normally don't want to go e4 and anti-Sicilian. b3 is a bit of a sideline. I think this d6, e5 is a good answer, just blocking out the bishop. And take it from there. e4 now. Some weird hybrid b3 Sicilian, where I think I'm doing fine. The bishop is not supposed to be very active on b2. We'll go g6, bishop g7, knight e7, castles, f5, and take it from there. He might try to one-up me by going knight e1 and f4. Then he goes c4. But now in this structure, the bishop really is not doing all that much on b2, while my pieces sort of make sense. So I think I did win the opening battle. And black is slightly more comfortable here. Let's see, c2. What do I want to do? A bit of a sucker when it comes to bishops, so I'm tempted to go knight takes e2 even here. I don't know. Knight takes c2 is also very possible, of course. More on the spirit of fighting for the d4 square. Or do nothing. Move like g5 or f4. Decisions. Nah, I like bishops too much. Can't get myself to ignore a bishop that's up for grabs. And now pretend I'm a King's Indian player. Go f4. Probably threatening f3, so he should go f3. And then g5, knight g6, h5, and so on. Here we go. If he goes knight d5, which he probably should at some point, I think I'm going to ignore it and go knight to g6. The good news for me is all sort of any kind of counterplay on the queen side is still very far away. Of course, he can go b4, but there's not much happening here. a4, I have a bit of a decision if I want to allow a5 or try to keep it closed here and give up the b5 square, which is what I'm going to do. Yeah, he puts his knight there. His knights do have nice squares now, but I still do hope to checkmate him somehow. Not quite sure how, but something's gonna pop up. Can I go g3, h3, queen h4? Does look scary at least. King g1, bishop h3. Could also start with queen h4. Or does he have knight takes d6? I don't know. It's also some typical boring King's Indian maneuvering, which I'll do first, like rook f7, bishop f8, rook g7. Does he want bishop e1? Should I go g3 finally? Nah, I'm not worried about it. Rook g1, really asking for it. Started with g3, I wasn't sure if I'm winning after h3, queen h4, queen f1, so I'm gonna start with this, and yeah, now g3 was a massive threat, so he kind of has to do this, and I was hoping this would end well for me. I think he can't take because of bishop g4, so he has to go somewhere with his queen. I'll probably go bishop g4 anyway and take it from there. Oh, did I blunder? Really can't see a thing. I think I'm getting lucky. Rook g6, king h7, but I did miss rook takes g6 check. This is really not a good day. Goes queen f2. Now I can't proceed with my original plan. Not sure how good my position is. I'm assuming it is pretty good. Knight f4 is in the air. Yeah, I think it's quite good. I go knight f4, takes, rook f3. These pieces get activated a little bit. Not sure how serious that is. What other moves do I have? Rook t8 looks a bit passive. I want to go bishop h6 without allowing. Knight takes d6. But anyway, let's calculate knight f4. Takes, rook f3, bishop f3, queen f3. Nah, don't like it that much. I'll go for this weird move. Very weird move. You can take on a5, which I also missed really at the top of my game today. King g1 is still... Oh, maybe this is directed against. Knight f4. Let's sort of renew threatening looking things on the, whatever it's called, the G file. h3, can you do that? Knight f4, hg, knight h3. Looks good for me. So what I calculated was queen h3, and I thought I was winning. Now I'm not so sure anymore after queen takes f3. Do I have any other options? Rook g4, king h2, rook g2, takes, king takes. Nah, doesn't seem to be leading anywhere. What's happening? After queen h3, queen f3, rook g4, king f2, queen h2, king e1. It's not that great. Did I bungle it again? What else do I have? Am I missing something simple? Queen g4, king h2. Nah. Yeah, there's very little I can say in my defense, except for just playing badly today. Queen takes f3, maybe queen h4, but then knight f6 check. Or yeah, he starts with knight f6, which is also very legal. King h8, queen f3, or go here. Yup, I've messed up. So I should at least speed up. My position is probably borderline lost now. Well, I'll try to trick him or flag him. We all know I'm not a fair sportsman at all. And I think I might be succeeding with my swindling ambitions so far. And this should have been a textbook King's Indian attack game. Instead, I'm relegated to playing for cheapos. King h3 takes. Is this winning? Oh, it's good at least. Do I have anything better? Let's try this. My subtle plan is rook h4, checkmate. And I will execute that subtle plan. Thanks for the game, Spills. I kind of spoiled that one, but what are you gonna do? Next game against the player with a very long leg. Chess is anti-gay, king is never taken. Very subtle, sir. Let's see what he does. He's strong as well, 2 for 15. Everyone's strong. What has happened to chess? We've taught people too much stuff. The so-called center gambit. I think one can take the pawn, go dc, bishop b4, or go b5, d5, but let's take the pawn and suffer. This line, how does this line go? I can't remember. I'll play this. Why not this? Just made this move up. It's probably not the most consistent. After bc, I'm going to go bishop c5 and hope that I spoiled his pawn structure and still am a pawn up. Both of those are true, but I'm not sure if he has any direct menacing attacks here. Queen e7, queen d7. Don't know. Yeah, so far so good. I think I'm doing alright, believe it or not. My knight on h6 looks stupid, but I am a pawn up. I have a good pawn structure. I don't see any immediate crushing threats. So I think I'm kind of okay, but of course this knight is gonna be an issue. h4. Yeah, whatever. I want to go knight a5 or knight e5, depending on circumstances. Bishop f4. Okay, let's eliminate the two bishops. I'm always happy when I can do that, as we know. Can't trap the queen. I'm also happy if I can do that. No, I can't. Thinking about bishop d7, queen a5, and then some crazy move like a6, threatening b6. Why can't I do it? I'm getting a bit curious. It's probably losing a piece given my track record today so far. But it is intriguing. Also bishop d7, there is bishop b5. Yeah, that's maybe a better counter-argument. And also this position here is borderline winning, so probably I shouldn't go for any too crazy experiments. But it was still an interesting option. Weird move, bishop d7. Should have gone to e6, not sure why I didn't. Still, I'm a pawn up with a good position, which is a pretty good start. Deep thoughts going on, as you can see by the random mouse movements. Wasn't sure if bishop e6, bishop b6, queen f6. I was a bit concerned about some e5s in some lines, so I decided to go here first. You can still go e5, of course, but looks like I should have something. Knight d4, yeah, that's legal. Let's go here. I'm dreaming of one day going queen takes g3, but I'm not quite sure how to make that happen. My position is pretty much winning, actually. I just have to play well, and that's a challenge today. Trying to capture another pawn, or maybe putting my knight on f4. Or going bishop d4 and bishop b5. So many ideas. Knight f3 is a good move. stopping most of these ideas. What do we do now? Well, at least I'm playing slowly too. I like bishops, so I'll try to grab that one. He could try to stop me from doing so by going e5, and I suspect he just might. Yeah, once again, I'm doing my best to blow a very good position. Still better, I think. Where to put this bishop? C8 or A4? Let's go here. It's more passive. Thinking about e7, king f7, and then some stuff like g4, but it doesn't really seem to work. Rook a1 is very strongly hinting at a5, which is not really a threat, but I think I'll just stop it anyway, because I can. There's g4 now, which is legal. Two pawns are two pawns, so I still am kind of winning. But stranger things have happened. Knight b5, let's go here, for example. And for the sake of simplicity, take this guy and take this guy. Am I 2 pawns up? I have trouble counting sometimes, but yeah, I am 2 pawns up, so that should help. Rook e4, good move, which of course I missed as well. Now he's gonna give a check and then try to create some counterplay, which hopefully is not gonna work. Let's close this up just in case. Time to give my bishop a little more scope. Okay, okay. As usual, I'm trying to play as passively as humanly possible. And kind of badly, too. Okay, time to get a little serious and wrap this up. Should still be winning, but I'm very unhappy about life in general today. Point is rook g7, bishop b6 seems to pick up a piece, so that's good news. I guess he's gonna go rook b7 or something, but yeah, it's not very promising. So I won against chess is anti-gay, king is never taken, the shortest username he could think of. Yeah, this gambit did look a bit adventurous. What time is it? I feel like I've been playing forever, but no, it's only been an hour. Studying the chat. Also, I don't wear a tie, so the differences are piling up. Are they discussing my similarities and differences with soporiferous? Anyway, new game. Chess on the Mat 2015. Another complicated username. Chess on the Mat? What's the mat? The mattress? The Macintosh? Checkmat? No. what do we do in this game? Let's play the Sveshnikov if we get a chance. We don't. He goes bishop b5. Yeah, I've played both e6 and d6. Matter of taste. Both very playable moves. Let's go with e6, intending to go knight g7 and then see what happens. Bishop c6, of course, is a legal move here. I'm gonna announce that after this game I'm gonna take a break to powder my nose, and since I really feel the urge to powder my nose, chess on the mat, you do have a pretty decent chance in this game. But I'll try to keep it together. Bishop a4 immediately. I'm not familiar with this idea, but it looks half sensible. a6, c4. Never seen it. I'll just keep making moves. Knight g6. Planning to go bishop e7, castles. Not sure what he's up to. Might be theory. I've never seen his bishop a4, c4 idea, but it doesn't look stupid. So it might very well be a theoretical line. Bishop e3. Let's go here. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Anybody watching? Oh, so Porphyros is kind to me. Thank you so much. I'm not feeling very banter sharp today. Let's hope for his tie not to get into the VC. What does that mean? You don't like my tie? It's one of my favorites. I saw this movie School Ties with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck and Brendan Fraser. It's a classic cable TV classic from like the early 90s. They're all wearing this tie, so I thought I really need to get that tie. It's a good movie, check it out. In the end, we all learn an important lesson. Or I think it was meant to teach us something, but I enjoyed it. There's football scenes and shower fights and everything you could hope for in a movie. School Ties, very good movie, and they're wearing this tie. So what can be wrong about it? Chess on the mat is thinking here after queen b6. I think he has a good position. He should go bishop c6, bc, knight c3. And I'm in some amount of trouble actually. But since I'm really focused on my bathroom break, that's my main concern at the moment. Maybe he's watching the show and he saw my recommendation. Knight c3, what do I do? Threatening knight a4, queen b2, knight a4, can't work. Yeah, I'm in trouble then. Probably have to retreat my queen somewhere where it doesn't allow knight c6 or knight e6. Easier said than done. It's a really clumsy move like queen b7, I guess. Don't like it. Well played, Chess on the Mat 2015. And also probably he can go knight e6 now and crush me. Like bishop e3, knight g7. Looks very, very scary. Castles. I want to go castles, but then I'm still scared about knight e6. So I'll go d6. He's going to go b4. I'm going to take on d4. And I'm going to be miserable after queen takes d4. So I'm not going to take on d4, but go bishop a7 back and be worse. Still haven't figured out what chess on the mat means. What could that mean? Maybe it's where he's from. Mat. Can't even think of a place starting with mat. f4? Isn't that asking for some e5 stuff? No. I'll castle. There's always this weird little tactic with knight takes f4 and e5 here, but it doesn't look that promising. I'll go e5 now. If fe, I'm gonna think, but probably recapture with a knight hitting c4. de doesn't seem to yield a lot of benefits after knight c2, knight f5 or whatever. So I will take with the knight, and I will pre-move to increase his time travel worries. Knight c2. I can take a pawn. And so I will do, even though knight f5 he probably gets his pawn back. Playing very well, chess on the mat. I don't like that. Tempt fate, take this and go 95. I don't like it. I think I'm a bit worse after rook f4, and I'm slightly concerned about f6 as well. Queen d6 I thought I could take here. But then I'm also worse after queen takes f4. Yeah, he's crushing me. This is very sad. Now I'm in real trouble. Knight b6, f6. But what to do? Yeah, I might just be lost. I'm in real big trouble. It's probably a hopeless position, actually. Can't even think of a move. Queen g5 is a massive threat. King h8, fg should also win. There was another game I have no reason to be proud of at all. What can I do? I don't see a single move. I'll go here and then try to flank him after queen g5, knight takes f6. That's the sportsman-like thing to do. Of course, there's no real compensation for the piece, but since his king is slightly exposed, I can hope for some tricks. Not a lot of tricks, really. Very sad. Chess on the mat, completely crushing me. I used to be good at Blitz in the old days. Here's my sad attempts at confusing him with some back rank counterplay. But objectively, it should not yield me very much. Queen d2 is probably a good move. Keeping everything covered. Yeah, not a lot of good things can be said about my play or my position here. My main excuse is I really need to powder my nose. I finally trick him, or is it still lost? I flagged him, but I was hoping to at least trick him as well. Sorry for that, chess on the mat, very good game. You did outplay me, and yeah, I played terribly. I'll be back in like 1 minute. See you guys then. Welcome back, everybody. I feel much relieved, and the bantering can continue now with full strength and focus. Nah, I'll still play terrible, I promise. What we got? Time to wake up. Mr. Turmopfer. Assuming another German player, that name means Rook Sacrifice. He says hi. I'll type hi, because I'm such a fair sportsman. As we've seen last game, I don't refuse the virtual handshake. He's hinting that he wants to play the Slav. Let's accommodate him. D takes c4 here. This is a bit of a sideline. How do I go? Do I go e3 or e4? I think e3 is fine. b5, a4, bishop e7. Knight f6 now transposes to some strange version of the Queen's Gambit accepted, where he has played c6 already, so that should not be a very good line for black. Generally, in the Queen's Gambit accepted, you want to go c5 in one go, so this does not look very good. Could also go to d3, but I'm very dedicated to push e4 ASAP, and I thought the bishop could come in handy in b3 there as well. Now I'll try to win the game with a bishop sacrifice on h7, and I'm announcing it now just to look clever should it happen. Probably it's not going to happen. That's sad. But yeah, if he goes b4 here, I'm not gonna get in my bishop sacrifice. I was hoping for castles e5. Knight d5, bishop h7, but it looks like it's not gonna happen. Oh, someone says I'm really funny. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. That's what I do. I'm a comedian. Speaking of really funny, I've seen 7 Days in Hell the other day. It's a sports mockumentary with Andy Samberg, and I did think it was really funny. No context, just saying. Check out 7 Days in Hell. It is very funny. Lots of male nudity, though, I gotta warn you. Yeah, I'm better here. His king doesn't have anywhere safe to go. But well, in spite of my losses, I am 800 points higher rated, so I'm supposed to be better too. And actually, well, Turmopfer is making very sensible moves. I would disagree with some of them, but they all have their purpose. So I think he's a talented player, but he has not studied a lot of opening theory. Which I have, I just lack the talent. That's also not really true. Like, I should overdo this talk that I'm a coward. Opening monster without any real gifts. I don't believe that much in talent. I think if you put in your 10,000 hours, as I certainly have in chess and pretty much every Grandmaster I know, then you're gonna get good at it. I'm not so sure how big the talent factor really is, but books have been written about that. I read one called Talent is Overrated, so I'm more in the deliberate practice training camp. But I do know a lot of smart people that disagree with me there, so I'm not that sure myself. I'm winning here, that I'm pretty sure about. Rook g7, queen h6, and that's all she wrote. Yeah, in general, in these lines, first of all, yeah, you can't afford to lose a tempo on c6 and then c5. And if white gets an e4 and you're not ready to answer with b4 or c5 or something sharp, you will get in trouble out of the opening. Still, I have a feeling Turmopfer could be a good player. His moves made a lot of sense. He just didn't know the patterns that are typical for this very position. Let's play the Spanker. Another scary name. A lot of interesting names here today. The Spanker, where's he from? From Netherlands. Oh, I think I know this guy, Paul Spahn. Sounds very familiar from the old days when I spent a lot of time in the Netherlands. Oops, sorry for moving the board. I decided to change my extremely boring Queen's Gambit declined routine and go for the equally boring, what's it called? Nimzo Indian. I can never decide what line to play here. I think Castle, which transposes to the line Kramnik always plays, is fine. I think this stuff is also fine. Even though there are some lines that are a little bit boring after DC, Knight C6, something like E3, and it's very hard to spice up the game for black. E3 immediately looks wrong. Isn't this wrong? I can take here. Well, that is then CD5. Is that a move? Queen A5 check? Hang on, this looks wrong. I'll give it a check. Point is now if bishop d2, I can swap down stuff and leave him with an isolated pawn when I'm not sure I'm better, but I'm certainly not worse. Well, yeah, there was no real alternative. Problem is I might still not be better, because white is probably in time to go d5 and simplify. How do I stop him from doing that? Not sure I should. Probably I should just develop and shake hands, but I do want to spank the spanker, so I should not do that. Unless I have to. Now my idea is to go knight e7, stop d5, and then keep developing, and hope this isolated pawn becomes a factor. I want to go b6, bishop b7, and if I'm allowed to develop with impunity, then only black can be better at least. Yeah, I think I'm fine here. Isolated pawns are very mixed blessing. I'm not sure if I prefer playing against them or with them, but if you have one, the onus to do something active is normally on you. And here in the endgame, black can develop easily, only black can be better, and after bishop b7 he has to start worrying about knight f5 check and me winning that pawn. That's why, yeah, now I'll go bishop b7, not afraid of rook c7 because I have knight f5, and then I can pick up the d4 pawn. Could go g4, I guess, but then I have a couple of tempting options, bishop d5 or knight d5. All look reasonably promising. Still, it's probably the best move. He can't allow me to go knight f5 check. Maybe I should have started with that. Probably should have. What do I do after g4? Knight d5, bishop d5. Not sure. He does go g4, of course. Maybe I'll just go here. Since I can't decide if I want to go knight d5 or bishop d5, I'll dodge the decision and do something else. Still slightly better. Probably objectively not better enough to win the game, but it certainly is easier to play for me. Now I've made up my mind. I'm going to go bishop d5. Not sure that was the right decision. Probably wasn't, now that I think about it, because I kind of weakened my c6 square a bit as well. Anyway, let's see where the king goes. One problem is I'm not sure how many rooks I want to exchange. I was thinking about king e4, king f8. King e4 is what he played. I was thinking about king d2. There he goes king e4. Now I'll go king f8. Now he can't go rook c8 and then rook c1, which bothered me a little bit. Should probably go g5, which he does. But that's also a little double-edged. Now it's going to be important not to allow a bunch of rooks on the g-file and checkmating me, but I don't think that's a very realistic scenario. Knight c6, let's go here. And any tricks? No, knight e5, I have rook c7 at the very least. So No huge worries. Goes knight b4. Probably another good move. Choices. After knight takes b4, I don't think I can win. Promise I don't think I can win after other moves either. Rook d8 takes, rook c7, f5. That's also kind of drawish. Takes. Yeah, he played well. He more or less equalized, I'm afraid. Goes back to c6. I like seeing that. Now at least I can keep some pieces on the board. Even though I'm still not gonna claim to have anything serious, but practically it should increase my winning chances a bit. Rook g1, what do we do now? Rook g7. Also not the most tempting of options. I will start with this, just to stop him from going knight b4. Now I want to go rook g7. Think about f4 intending f5. g3, fair enough. I'm going to allow b5, but I want this knight to stay kind of locked up on c6, which, yeah, might come back to haunt me, but it might not. a4 I think was wrong. I think I should have started with rook g1. Because now, well, his pieces are nice, but mine are also gaining some coordination, and I'm not sure he can win this race, because my knight on d5 defends b6, so I'm hoping to be faster here once the action starts, which is right about now. Rook c6, I think I have knight b4 check. Have to calculate it for a second. Nah, who calculates? Let's just do it and then regret it. That was very dumb, really. But I was hoping for this, which eases my task, hopefully. Yeah, now my position should just be winning. Still, some care has to be taken. But yeah, this is winning. Let's avoid all the knight forks. And then push our h-pawn. Not much white can do about it. Nope. Thanks to the spanker. Not a good outcome of the opening for the spanker there, but then he sort of got back in the endgame. What's going on? Did I blunder something? Oh, no. Some question if some 95 check won the rook. Might have. I'm very capable of blundering. What time is it? 19:35? It's probably 2-3 more games. I'll do the full 2 hours today. Just because I enjoy playing Blitz so much. Now strong opponent PG 024 2676. But it looks like he's not here. Says opponent disconnected. 34 seconds to board. No, there he is. Knight f3. I'll go d5. Back to the main repertoire. And here I'll copy Vishy Anand. Or, well, a lot of strong players. Fabiano Caruana also plays this line. This was the game. Anand against Carlsen. No, Carlsen Anand. From the World Championship. I'm not familiar with a4. But whatever. In general, Black wants to get this setup, willing to give the pawn back. Maybe I could have fought a bit harder to keep it. But I think Black is fine here. Rook b1 is strongly hinting at b4, so I think a5 is probably a decent enough move here, just clamping down on the b4 square and stopping him from going there. Bishop e6 might have been a little careless. Should probably have started with g5. g5, the point going there. The point being that I want to go knight to g6, while f6 wasn't really part of the plan, frankly. Still, how bad can it be? Might be a bit bad, but should really move my f-pawn. How do I recapture on d5? Autopilot would be queen to then get in knight g6 and f5. There's something to be said for knight as well. Bishop h3, that's a surprise. What does he want after f5, e4? Let's find out. He does want to go e4. Sure about bishop f5. Weakens my light squares quite a bit. Hopefully his light squares too, but I'm not sure I've played this very well. One indicator is I was planning queen d5 here and then saw knight to e3. So I should not be doing that. What should I be doing? Not sure I like the move b6 either. Can I go queen d7, then knight c5, queen d5? Yeah, it looks half reasonable. But yeah, he's not gonna go knight c5, he's probably gonna go queen g4 or something annoying. Or knight e3. Now of knight c5, okay, worst case scenario, I have to go passive for a move with queen c8. I'm a bit tempted to go queen h3, but nah, he has queen g4 even then if he wants to. So yeah, so far PG024, FIDE Master, is sort of outplaying me. Nothing too terrible has happened, but I have a feeling I'm slightly worse now. Expecting queen g4, queen e2, okay, let's kick this knight out. I have a feeling I've made some progress over the last couple moves, but it might be fool's gold. Then again, b3 is hanging, so it might not be fool's gold. Also, my voice is slowly leaving me, which would probably make the show better, because I'd have to shut up more and maybe I'd play better. But just letting you know. Queen d2, can I take here? I guess I can. He can pin me. I could go back. Yeah, I don't see anything smarter. My bishop is a bit stupid, so he might have some compensation in the endgame, but can't be too much. And yeah, he doesn't want the endgame. But now, how do we get to his king? Maybe we don't get to his king. That would be sad. I want to go c5. It's just so anti-positional. I don't think I can really do it. Anyway, I have to make a move. I'll go here. Bad move. Plan was queen h5, queen f3 or something, but it doesn't look very realistic. Also after queen h5 there's some annoying moves like g4, knight c2. I want to trade this knight. Let's keep it in proximity of the white king and pretend we're threatening something very scary. No, I might want to go queen h5 actually, so maybe I'm threatening some half scary things. Yeah, this makes this a little less scary, but if he gives me the d3 pawn, I'll live with it. h3? What is h3? I can still take and take the d3 pawn. Can I do anything better? Like g4. g4, h4. Nah, I don't see progress, so I'll go for the little solution and grab the pawn. Can I pre-move this? I'm so scared of pre-moves, but yeah, I think I can pre-move that one. Still some compensation because my bishop is a bit silly and his knight on whatever the square is called is very strong, but 2 pawns are 2 pawns. Let's try not to blunder our queen this time around. I have a feeling I should go here at some point. I'm not that sure if rook c7 works here for him. Worst case scenario, I can take it and go queen takes a4. But I was hoping I would have something better, which I'm not sure I really do. Maybe I don't. He's calling my bluff. That's sad. Takes, takes. Queen b4. Rook e3. No, also doesn't really lead anywhere. So I'm gonna have to do this. Wasn't the plan, but what are you gonna do? Run, Forest. Is 96 a problem? Nah, not much of a problem. Of course I missed rook a1 when I said it's not much of a problem. Yay me. Did I mess it up again? Oh man. Probably I messed it up again, but I'll try my best to swindle with a2. And yeah, I missed this move as well. I'm probably slightly worse. This is all very sad. Yup, time to start thinking about a draw. Why did I do this to my beautiful position? Well, what are you gonna do? Looks like PG 024 is trying to win this. And yeah, why wouldn't he? I don't think he's gonna though. Now he realizes he's behind on the clock, so he rightly simplifies, and I've flagged enough for one day, so I will offer a draw. Good game, PG 024. Bad game, Jan. I should have won that one. I was 2 pawns up. Next game. Against, on paper, a weaker opponent. I do like all premium members equally. Preezy555 from Germany. I will crush you though. Gotta be honest. If Preezy is there, he goes b4. Why would you do that? I will go e5, I'll occupy the center. You don't have the center. Well, his line is sort of playable. I think black is doing very well here. I've never studied it because I just thought black is an elite in development and how bad can it be. But yeah, I don't know a lot of details. I'll try to play actively before he develops. Maybe I should have studied it. One of those nights when there's nothing on TV, when you're giving up on True Detective because season 2 really is terrible. Should have spent on 1b4, but I never have. So how to play this, I don't know. Let's put pieces to the middle of the board. I don't have a plan if he castles. I'm sort of dreaming of some knight e4, queen h5, bishop d6 and checkmate attacks. But I'm not quite sure how to make those work in practice. Someone's asking, is Season 2 really that terrible? Yeah, it is that terrible, unfortunately. Can I take stuff? Well, I can sort of boringly, positionally take stuff on c3, but there's no immediate payoff. Anything better than that? It's probably a bad move. I'm really not in shape. Well, I'm really not such a good chess player. I should stop pretending I'm never in shape in any of these sessions. I just struggle with a lot of decisions. It's a very hard game, this chess. Still doing fine, but queen h5, yeah, just queen c2. And I don't really have a follow-up. I'll probably go knight g5 or something, but that wasn't the way to go. I should just have taken on c3 and take it from there. d3 sort of simplifies my task, because that's losing a piece. Sorry, crazy 555. That wasn't the way to do it. And in general, yeah, I know I keep going on these rants against not mainstream openings. If b4 does make you happy, keep doing it. But I think for becoming a bad chess player, it is important to play major or more serious openings, because you get to see more structures and positions. b4 is not that terrible in itself, but you just don't learn much about, yeah, typical structures, positions, patterns. And you do want to know your patterns, because chess is all about pattern recognition, whatever that means. Next game, what time is it? Still 2 games, probably. Naruto, another 2400 player. People are strong. Did I play Naruto already? Did I lose the first game to Naruto? I can't remember, I think. No, that wasn't him, right? No, I don't think so. Nimzo. I've done all kinds of things against the Nimzo. I'll play knight f3 this time around. b6 is what I consider the best move. And this is a little sneaky sideline trying to transpose back into 4 queen c2 territory. After he passed the test after knight f3, he went b6, c5 g3 I'm happy with. But this line, yeah, it's nothing special. I just don't know anything better against b6. These bishop g5 lines, I think black is doing very well. He went knight e4 very early. Normally the argument against that is to go g3, bishop g2, and then some knight g5 might be threatened, so he has to move his knight back to f6. I think I've had a game here with f5, knight g2, bishop knight back to f6 in the old days, against Florian Handke or something. Or somebody. No, I think it was against Florian Handke. I always thought knight e4 was considered to be a little premature because of this g3, bishop g2. This relationship between a bishop on g2 and a bishop on b7 tends to favor the bishop on g2, because normally the bishop on g2 is defended by his king, and this bishop is not. Or in order to defend it, you have to do something clumsy like queen c8, as Naruto plays. Knight d7. It's a bit tempting to go d5 here. And yeah, a bit tempting is all I need. The point is after e d, c d, bishop d5, I think I have knight g5 or something, and bad things could happen. Knight f6, fair enough, but now I'm just better positionally. I have to think if I want to gambit a pawn, but knowing me, I don't. Knight d4 looks a bit tempting, then e d5, knight f5, but e4 is simpler with just an edge. And now white has, or black has kind of a nightmare King's Indian structure. This bishop on b7 is locked out. I have the 2 bishops, and I have reasonably easy play. So I do like my position. Not sure if bishop d2 or f4 or bishop g5. Many tempting moves. Bishop h3. I'll try to keep it simple. Go rook a1, f4. Open the position up. He should probably go queen d8 and bishop c8. Yeah, a5. Well, I could go b4, play on the queen side, but I'm more focused on the king side. Don't push your luck, Mr. Naruto. Well, he might be. Not sure I've played this ideally, but knight f5 attacking something was just too tempting. Now I should do something strong. Knight g7 feels like I want to sacrifice something. Maybe I can't yet. No. Sad. It's a 3-minute game, so I have to pay some attention to the clock. Still like my position, but I feel I've misplayed it slightly. Because there's no direct punishment for all his sins here. Yeah, I have misplayed it. Certainly have. However, I still like it. Just gotta start making sensible moves at some point again. I'm gonna sacrifice an exchange for this very lousy bishop on b7. Wasn't exactly the plan either. He doesn't want it. Okay, then let's try to put this rook to better work and blunder it after bishop a6, knight d3 later. And then I might have some tricks. Okay, let's face it, I'm just making random moves, trying to win on time, as I tend to. I was hoping that this rook could do some damage. Now I'm threatening rook h7, queen h5. And yeah, he allows me to do that, which is very kind. Sorry, Naruto. Last game of the day, I will choose blindfoldedly. I'm gonna abort if I don't choose a premium member, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to click on something blindfoldedly. I'm clicking something. Is the game starting? No, I'm somewhere very different area of the site. Let's try again. Scroll, click. Oh yeah, this worked. Oh, it's Mr. Soporiferous. He's a premium member, so I don't have to abort, and I should open my eyes and bring up the board. e4. What haven't I done yet today? I don't know. I haven't played g6, but I'm not very good at playing g6. It's a system I've played through most of my teenage years, normally with some goofy lines like delaying bishop g7 and going d4, d6, knight c3, c6, hoping for f4 when I wanted to play d5 and feel very smart about myself, because then after e5 the bishop and sometimes better on f8 than on g7. But it's this sort of crap line which I now always sit here and advise against, because you don't get a lot of chess culture, and I sort of regret that I spent too many years playing stuff like this instead of playing the Najdorf or e4, e5 or serious stuff. Anyway, the plan is after e5 to go h5, then knight h6, get this bishop out, normally to g4, put a knight on f5, go e6, and the bishop on g7 would be locked up, while on f8 it makes sense. So this is the deep point behind delaying bishop g7. But don't try this at home, it's not a very good line. Even this position is not very good. And instead of f4, of course, white has a ton of other moves, like bishop e3, knight f3, f3, g3, whatever. h3 stops me from getting my bishop to g4, which is logical enough. I never played h3 in my feared days of playing that line. I'll go knight h6, probably knight f5, and then h4, and take it from there. And h3 is actually quite logical. I'm not sure why no one ever played this. Because yeah, I'm not that thrilled about keeping this bishop. Interesting idea by Soporiferous. Maybe knight h6 wasn't the way to go. Maybe it was bishop f5. But yeah, the stuff I thought was very clever in 1993 might not be holding up so well nowadays. I'm glad he allows me to get rid of this knight and grab his bishop. First of all, because I like bishops. Secondly, because now I have a clear plan of action. I'll go bishop f5, then I'll go e6, and I'll find half-sensible work for most of my pieces. Which, yeah, wasn't so easy. If I had the knight left on f5 after, let's say, bishop d3, even though then, well, probably I go knight g3 and bishop f5, and I'll find some work. Well, this is easier. Yeah, if he castles queenside, then I sort of have a built-in attack with queen a5, knight b6, b5, b4, stuff like that. So this does look kind of scary for white. That's the stuff I was hoping for as an ambitious junior, but then when you move up the ranks, like, people don't allow you to do it all that much anymore, and the downsides became more apparent, so I converted to e5. No, first to c5. I played the Taimano for many years, and then I went to e5. Yeah, I think it was for the better. I wish I had gotten rid of these lines earlier. If they go well, they look like this, and you feel very smart. Now knight c4, bishop a3, queen a5. All kinds of evil things are in the air. Should probably try knight d2, but I'm not sure. His position might already be beyond salvation here. My pieces are just very active. Can I go for brilliancy prizes? Some bishop a3 or knight a3? Probably not going to win me a brilliancy prize, but I'll still do it. Pawn is after ba, bishop a3, king b1, queen b6, check, knight b3. There is queen takes b3, and it's a nasty little pin. Dover Beach is saying the last 4 times I've been a piece up in Blitz, I've lost. Yeah, I almost lost today when I was queen up, and I won when I was a piece up, when I was a piece down. So here was Dover Beach the one I sort of flagged when I was a piece down? No, that wasn't him, right? Can't remember. Apologies to whomever I did flag. Apologies to Soporiferous, who ends up on the wrong side of this little combination and is getting checkmated after queen takes b3. Good game, Soporiferous. Thanks everybody for participating, for kibitzing, for playing, for becoming a premium member to join this show. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. I've played terribly today. I am very sorry for all of you who joined the show to learn something. And I'll see you guys next time. It's been fun as usual. Check you later. Bye bye.